Well, hello, peeps. Hope your week is off to a good start. I had a spectacular Monday. You know why I always have a spectacular Monday? Because I expect a spectacular Monday. I go into a Monday looking for a spectacular Monday. And I don't accept anything else but spectacular. I make my day. So this week's off to a good start. Today's off to a good start. I've been busy. I've been going since I got up this morning. I've already been out for a walk. Took off, started doing some Instagram stories, taking a few photos, and walked much longer than I normally do. So came back, had some watermelon juice, sat around, have been working ever since, and I said, man, I need to do a video. So today we're going to talk about raw food diet resources, the gateway drug. That's a mighty strange title, isn't it? I wonder what that could be about. Anyhow, I'm Jack and I do videos every day. So if you haven't already subscribed to my channel, I'd really appreciate if you'd hit that subscribe button now. Then be sure and click on the little bell and check send notifications so you'll stay subscribed to the channel. And I'm wearing our Powered by Plants shirt today. Comes in a number of colors. We have some women's styles. I have tank tops. I will drop a link to the shirt below. I should always mention that though, that of course I'm wearing a man's shirt, but we got different stuff in there. We got different colors. We have different, obviously different sizes, men and women's, and yeah, a lot of different selections. So go check that out. So the gateway drug, raw food diet resources. I wanted to share some of my raw food diet resources with you today. Just kind of an update. It's not, I've done this probably several times, but I have to remember that from time to time that my channel, not everybody has watched every video and not everybody is necessarily going to go backwards. So I might have a video from 2 years ago that somebody's not going to dig through, or even a year ago. So I like to, kind of refresh the subject every once in a while. Okay, the reason for the odd title, a gateway drug, that's what I consider myself here. Like, there's raw food educators, there's this, there's that. Well, to me, there's two different types of, I guess there's a number of types, but to me, there's two different types of YouTube videos. There's knowledge, educating, there's knowledge and educating type videos, and then there's entertainment. Well, I like to entertain, but I don't necessarily consider myself an educator. I like to consider myself the gateway drug. I'm the gateway drug because I like to turn people on to a thought process. I like to turn people on to what I feel are solid sources. And after I share my sources, mine with you today, I'll kind of even expand on that a little bit further. Now, I know there's a lot of great books out there, and I won't get every one of them, and people will have to tell you, and you'll see I notice how people respond. You'll see that certain little people will always like recommend their cult figure, their guru daddy or whoever it is that they, have bought into lock, stock, and barrel. And that's just not my approach. I don't say much about it, but I'll expand it towards the end of this. I've only got, and like I say, I've got a lot more books than this, but I kind of wanted to really hone it down. Like, how can you, where can you really, get to the heart of the matter? And I'm going to probably have a couple in here that some people may not have thought of, or they may have. I always start, I love her to death. I start with Brenda Davis. Brenda Davis, a Canadian lady. She doesn't do much social media. She does lectures. She's a little bit old school. She gives talks. There are some wonderful videos out there. If you search Becoming Vegan on YouTube, you will pretty much get her book Becoming Vegan, or pretty much everything in it. She goes through it. Real good presentation. Now, okay, Becoming Vegan. She wrote 2 books. The reason I'm recommending her, the first book is Becoming Vegan. Wonderful explanation of the science of a plant-based diet. She's not dramatic. She's not one of these, she doesn't have any extreme form of doing it. She's just kind of like Joe Friday, if you remember that show. Just the facts, just the facts. And a very good explanation, and a very good rational explanation of a plant-based lifestyle. That gets you started, because you need to understand just why this plant-based lifestyle, how it works, what it works. I put that one up there with Dr. Greger's book, How Not to Die. So both of those resources would be real good resources. Now, her second book is more specific to the topic today, Becoming Raw. And the Becoming Raw book, like I say, that's a good one too. I've mentioned this before. If you keep that on your Kindle, you don't have to like think to, you can always find the answers that people are going to ask you about this lifestyle, whether it's just simply about the vegan thing with the basics, you know, you go to Becoming Vegan. Where do you get your protein? What about calcium? What about this? What about that? She covers it all. Great explanations. Very similar in Becoming Raw. A lot of those questions, well, should I eat mushrooms? Should I eat this? Should I eat that? She has a very good section on that where she has certain things like that where she talks about if you should avoid them completely, if they're not optimal for you so you can eat them a little bit, or if they're perfectly fine. So can't recommend Brenda Davis highly enough. Now let's go back a little bit. One of the first books that I read that just gave me a wonderful explanation of how this whole thing works, or basically how I believe the system works now, and how our colon and how our digestion are so important in everything that's going on in our body, is Colon Health by Dr. Norman Walker. For some reason, I want to say I was talking about that not too long ago. That's one of the first books that I got on this subject, you know, probably after the China study. I know it's one of the first books on my Kindle. I actually had to go back in and jog my memory on the author of that one, but Dr. Norman Walker, and that one just kind of gives an explanation of, you know, how certain things, headaches can be, you know, blocked up in here, and just certain areas of the body that I had never really thought of before that were affected by the colon. So once again, it's not a raw food manual, but it's kind of you're trying to learn, and the more of an understanding you get of how the body functions, how our digestion functions, and how it's really supposed to work, the better off you are. Another one, and I'm not a hygienist. I'm not one of the natural hygienists. Like, that's not my thing, but I take a lot of information from them. And the Mucusless Diet Healing System, everybody should read. Arnold Ehret. Ehret, I'm not a devotee, I'm not a disciple, and I know if any people from him come in, they'll just be raving, oh, they'll Ehret this, Ehret that. I like him. I take a lot of his stuff, The natural hygienists, they've got some really good thoughts out there. So I would highly recommend reading that. Rational Fasting, one of Ehret's books. Read some of the other Shelton. Is it Shelton or Sheldon? I can't remember, that I've read before too, but read some of the natural hygienists. One I got last summer, and I still need, you know, I'm not reading like I should read. I'm just staying too busy, and I am going to read this because I can't go to Woodstock this year and look him in the eye and not have read that book. Is Don Bennett's book, Avoiding Degenerative Disease. Avoiding Degenerative Disease. That one you'll have to get online. I don't know if that's through Amazon. If you search it, you can find it, but some great stuff in there. Once again, people will say, well, I don't like, Don doesn't do this, Don doesn't do that. I don't do everything that he does. I don't eat exactly like he does, but I like to get a lot of good information from him, which leads me to that. So many people will do something like that, like, well, I don't like, you know, Don Bennett says this, so I don't follow him. Or so-and-so, whoever, Ehret says this, or also Doug Graham, 80-10-10. That's a good book too. Like I say, I'm not an 80-10-10 devotee, but what people will tend to do, and this is the worst way you can do your process, is, okay, I don't like Doug Graham says this about this, or Don Bennett says this about this, or so-and-so says this about this. So I don't listen to them. I don't follow them. I don't watch any of their stuff. I don't read any of that stuff. That's asinine. That's asinine because of one aspect. Air conditioner's going to be coming on a lot this summer. It's already in the 90s. Just because you don't agree with one aspect, you're not going to find somebody, like, I don't agree 100% with anybody. If I did that, I would just have to, I don't know, I guess I'd read encyclopedias and reference books, because I do things my way, but there's knowledge to be taken from all these people. Now, what do you notice missing on my list of my favorite, best resources to suggest? There's no big YouTubers on there. that doesn't impress me. Never has. I have YouTubers I like. I still watch from time to time. I get information if I'm looking for something specific. But quite frankly, everybody's looking. You know, the larger channels out there. If you look at a lot of those people, they've had a lot of meltdowns. And I think that's what it's almost like it gives people an out. Like some of the people that I see that their fans and their followers just go all in on. They don't follow anybody else. This is their person, their guru. It's just, I don't think it's a good process. You know, we need variety. We need to hear a lot of different ideas on this lifestyle. And personally, I can't, a lot of the bigger ones on YouTube are not all that mentally, emotionally balanced to be leading the crowds of people that they're leading. They're constantly, I don't know, I'm having this, I got to go away from social media. Oh, I totally screwed up. I'm changing my diet completely. It's like, ugh, there's no calm there. If I ever do take a guru, my guru's got to be chill as, you know what, just, you know, he's gotten there, but I don't need a guru. Well, who knows? Maybe I will need a guru one day. But anyhow, I'm definitely not that guy either. What I'm saying is, and also too, you have the big YouTubers, and they're not necessarily that, but then you got the fringe element. You got people that just follow that lunatic fringe. And hell, I could be part of that. I kind of look like that lunatic fringe. I actually have a pretty rational approach. And that's why I consider, I've always told you this, I'm a curator of content. I'm not so much an educator. I like to point you in directions. I like to share processes. I like to say, yeah, these are the people. This is why I've been able to do it. Listen, just look at the guy behind the glass window. Just observe. This is how I've been able to do it. If your way is working, then that's good. Keep doing what you're doing. I'm always just saying, if your process is not working, don't keep wasting your time on that process. Change your process. Change it to something that works for you. But anyhow, get your information from good sources, and get your information from a variety of sources. And don't be afraid to follow two people that disagree with each other. Nothing wrong with that. Anyhow, hope you guys enjoyed this one today. If you like it, give me a thumbs up, and I'll see you tomorrow. Now it's back to work. I still got a lot of stuff to do today. Peace.